I'd like to introduce Helena Norberg Hodge, who is from ISEC, the International Society of Ecology and Culture. She has worked all around the world, helping communities become more resilient, especially in these days in the time of peak oil and food miles. Helena.
Thank you. Now, for the last 20 years, I've been working on these issues around the world, and what we're seeing is that the large retailers, large corporations are destroying local economies worldwide. Very often we're led to believe that if we buy bananas from the Philippines, or if we buy our oranges from an African country, that we're actually helping poor farmers there. In actual fact, small farmers around the world are being destroyed. Just in the last year, something like 100,000 Indian farmers have committed suicide. This concentration in the hands of larger corporations is a disaster for the small producers as well as the small retailers. So we're seeing this very rapid movement towards essentially global monopolies. The end result is also a huge increase in CO2 emissions. So right now, in the face of global warming, what we need to be doing is to strengthen local economies. We need to shorten the distance that food travels. And here in Mullumbimby, what we're working to do is to establish farmers markets, have shops that will carry goods that come from the region, especially for staples, and in that way we dramatically reduce CO2 emissions and global warming. We also increase the prosperity in the local community. When you spend money in local shops, where especially in terms of food, the food has come from the region, you are talking about circulating the wealth in the local economy. And so you're talking about simultaneously dramatically reducing pollution and transport, while at the same time increasing the prosperity of the local community. So it's a real win-win strategy, and it's a strategy that is a win-win for other countries as well, also for third world countries. At the moment in Australia, to have Coles and Woolworths control 80% of the retail of food is in effect being run by monopolies. And as these monopolies get bigger, we're talking about moving in the direction of Walmart in the US. Walmart in the US at the moment is faced with huge opposition from communities all across the country, because they've seen that it kills off the spirit and the life of the small towns. They've seen their small towns die. And they've also seen that the small producers are going under in larger and larger numbers. So there's a real wake-up going on, and it's being stimulated both by the increased pollution, by global warming, and by the recognition that their towns are being impoverished. So you have an urgent need to change towards more localized food systems, more regionalized food systems, and that is why there is now a growing movement around the world to strengthen the local economy and to resist this type of development. This is not a personal attack on anyone who runs any of these large businesses. It's not an attack on people who shop there. It's simply a recognition that this type of monopoly is not compatible with either real free enterprise or real free market or sustainability. And finally, I'd like to say that particularly in the light of global warming and the fact that oil supplies are running out, we need urgently to think about rebuilding local systems and reducing our so-called ecological footprint. Thank you.
The impact of the local farmers in this area in Woolworths when it comes to that?
Well, the experience around the world is that local farmers are going under in larger and larger numbers. And very often people think, well,
Helena, thank you so much for coming to talk to us today, and I found your talk very inspiring, educational, and I want to go home and plant some potatoes.
thank you very much. Thank you for doing all the work you've been doing.
Thank you, my pleasure. Bye.